The First Wars, 82647494 BSW to 819769 BSW. The battles that aren't remembered upon much. There isn't much surviving information left of the First Wars. The Scorpios and the now extinct of 819780 BSW Beals fought each other for an unknown amount of years. Far before our now known Bubble Stick and Airmen, the Beals were a primitive race with only sticks for weapons. The Scorpios were far less developed with them, not having their acidic tails and sharp claws. That is all we have based on the first couple of wars. The First Purge, 819769 BSW to 819683 BSW, was the battle that brought upon the extinction of the Beals. The destroyer invaded suddenly at one point and devastated the planet, plunging it into the first purge, and only purge we know of. The once beautiful landscapes now plunged into flames and destruction. The destroyer is an unknown figure. All we know him is the paintings that show him. The unknown years, from 819683 BSW to 81948 BSW. All we know is from this point is that at some point the Bubblemen, Stickmen, Magicals, and Airmen developed. The beginning of empires from 18948 BSW to 1897 BSW was a time of prominence and development. The Bubble, Stick, and Airmen began to start to form their empires, while the Scorpios lived in darkness. The empires eventually became the Allied Forces 9876 BSW and had many fights with the Scorpios. The Magicals started to have frequent fights with the Stickmen, which led to the Great War. The Great War, 1897 BSW to 567 BSW, was the first known and longest war between the four races. This is the first time the Scorpios were allied with the advanced races. The Magicals left the Stick Empire and brought havoc to the Allied forces. Their magical powers are far superior to their weapons. They destroyed cities and legions of soldiers. Scorpios developed the Scorpions in 629 BSW, an advanced form of the regular Scorpios. Scorpions proved to be a challenge to the Magicals, eventually leading to their imprisonment and end of the war. Scorpios left the Allied forces and resumed their isolation, now with the Scorpions. The Allied forces continued to develop their technology in order to prevent any more events like this. The Civil War from 567 BSW to 500 BSW was when the Stickmen divided from the Allied forces due to their new leader who believed in forced power. The Bubblemen and Airmen stayed together to become the Republic, while the Stickmen teamed with the Scorpios, who had a similar ideology, to become the Empire. In 521 BSW, the first Titan was created, the Bubble Titan Grievous, which shattered the Empire's resolve, but they in return developed their own Titan, Destructus. Stick Titan's power was stronger than the Bubble Titan, but had one weakness, his arrogance. That arrogance led to his downfall, but the war wasn't over yet. The Airmen developed their own Titan, Bubbleless, but she was far weaker than the other Titans, but she had speed. The Air Titan's speed could dodge several attacks, but the Empire decided to destroy the Republic's newfound power by developing a controlling device. This device was used on the Air Titan, which led to her being controlled by them. They shattered most of the Republic's resolve, but the Bubble Titan was still in action. 511 BSW, who encountered the Scorpion King Oblivion, his power could destroy most defenses. In the fight, the Scorpio King destroyed the Bubble Titan's arms, leading to his near loss. The Republic launched their secret weapon, a soldier who was genetically modified to be able to take on much larger units. The soldier was launched onto the Scorpio King's back and was stabbed by his fiery sword. The Scorpion King eventually retreated, being replaced by the controlled Air Titan. The Air Titan speaker would stun the Bubble Titan, causing him to be hit more and more. Eventually, he managed to get there in time to retreat. In 501 BSW, the Air Titan was freed by the same soldier that defeated the Scorpio King. The war ended shortly after, and the Stickmen rejoined the Republic. The Great Scorpion War, from 495 BSW to 1 ASW, was the most devastating war of recent. The Scorpions left the Scorpios to become their own empire. The Scorpions made their own Titan, the Scorpion Titan Vasilia, would destroy the Republic's major cities and could defend herself from serious attacks. The Republic's Titan fought her over and over, lost and lost, defeat after defeat. The Scorpios couldn't do anything to help, their own island being surrounded by Scorpion forces. The Republic continued fighting a losing war, 309 BSW, the Bubble Titan secured the Republic's first victory in decades. After the Bubble Titan destroyed a key possession for the Scorpions, the Republic started to win more until the Scorpions sent a stolen bomb to the airman base, completely destroying everything. This devastated the Republic due to them being heavily reliant on the airman base for vehicles and transportation. In 131 BSW, the Republic was losing and broke. Scorpions destroyed most of their key positions and made sure the Republic couldn't resupply their troops. The Bubble Titan was the only available Titan due to the other Titans being crippled and exhausted. The ground troops couldn't do much. In 10 BSW, the Republic secured some victories, but they were small. The Bubble Titan was nowhere to be found by this point, and the war was considered lost. Scorpion Titan devastated the few remaining cities. Before she could destroy everything, she was attacked by the Bubble Titan. They fought for several days, each of them destroying each other's gear. Eventually, the Bubble Titan was able to kill Vasilia through flaming and decapitation. Final decade of the war led to the Republic regaining their footing and forcing the Scorpions to surrender. The rebuilding from 1 ASW to 20 ASW was difficult. Almost every city and base was destroyed from the Great Scorpion War. Everyone was exhausted, and most were either injured or dead. The Titans were nearly dead as well, their cores being completely depleted of energy. The war devastated the land and it was hard to rebuild. In 19 ASW, the cities were almost finished and the Titans were returned to full power. The peace from 20 ASW to 32 ASW was a time of peace and prosperity. Fighting was done and the Republic was at its highest ever. Cities expanded and citizens grew, and the Titans rested. Very rarely there were attacks, but when they were dealt with easily. Unfortunately, the peace doesn't last forever, leading us into the war of past and future.